thank you to our 3 sponsors for supporting our podcast. Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, who offer fantastic catering services, Alexander Grace Law, who provide modern and client-led legal services, and SBE Furnishings, who offer high-quality furnishings and electrical items at fantastic prices.
Gordon, send more house to save the house. Come on, the house!
Right, can I just throw a few things at you, Frank? If that's all right with everybody else?
You'll have to have a good arm. Go on.
Ghulam Ali, can you remember anything about Ghulam Ali? Sub-pro that we had, early 2000s?
Classic. Home game.
First of all, what did you call him all day? Ali G.
Oh, yeah, Ali G. Did I keep that? I must have, I did keep that day, yeah. Go
on, tell the story.
Ali G all day, and then he, I don't think he was particularly happy, but, and then, I have no idea who we were playing. Well, it must have been a decent day. It was quite a sunny day, actually, yeah. So he come in at half time and asked us, incredibly. Bit naive in them days, I suppose, Joe. Don't get me wrong here. But he just said, and he sat in the corner and just said, which way does the sun go down? And I just said to him, so you'll be all right here, sun won't be in your eyes. But obviously he wanted to do his daily prayers. So.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, wonderful. Right, another one. Do you remember sending Aggers off?
Yeah, I was on a bit of thingy tonight. I always thought that was at Aslington, but apparently we think it's at Colne. So, yeah.
It's Colne. Everyone said it's Colne.
Yeah, so I would have been keeping captain.
You were captain of the seconds.
Yeah, Aggers would have been at third man because he always fielded at third man fine leg. You won't put him anywhere else. Every over, third man fine leg for me. But definitely down at the tea room and then just effed and jeffed over something. Probably because I gave him a bollocking. So I just sent him off because he did it in front of an old woman and weren't happy about it. And it took me 3 attempts to tell him to get off anyway. Sent him off for a couple of overs. He weren't happy. Weren't happy at all. So we played with 10 men for a couple of overs. Till he apologised and then came back on. Sorry?
Guys, have you ever sent any of your own teammates off?
No, I don't think I were ever that strict, Joe. To be fair, not in Frank's league, I'm afraid.
Same here. You know, batters batting with lighters in the pockets and get so close to the edge, we let them carry on. Whizzing me tits off, Jez!
you use your weapons as you find them, Joe, and a frying fang was a big weapon.
Yeah, definitely a big weapon. Mm.
Yeah.
Frank, do you remember going to Ireland to watch South Africa play?
Yeah, Yarra was on the tour, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, he was playing for South Africa. Yeah. A few pints that morning.
We flew over from Liverpool to Dublin and flew back the same day, which was a horrendous mistake because obviously we'd had quite a bit to drink.
Remember Polly? Do you remember shouting at Polly was captain? Polly, get Yarra on!
In your daft South African accent.
Yeah. You put him on, didn't he? Won them game.
Why did you do that when you used to pretend to be a wicketkeeper from another country? Why did you do that?
Because you used to do that. You used to pretend you were a wicketkeeper. If we just decided who you're going to be today. There was something on like who you're going to be like today, or whatever. So, today I'm going to be Ridley Jacobs. You just to spice it up, so you spend all day in character.
Do all these like encouraging of the bowlers as Ridley Jacobs in a West Indian accent. He would, regardless of who the opposition pro was.
Do you remember that 6-a-side? What was it? That floodlit thing at Colne, Joe?
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah. God, what time did we get away from there?
I don't know, but it was a for those who don't know, it was a 4 innings game. You'd bat twice, 2 lots of 20 overs.
Yeah.
And it finished at like 11:30 at night in floodlights, freezing cold in Cole.
I can remember watching it. It finished that was the latest I'd ever stayed up. Like midnight.
Madness.
I reverse swept Cameron Cuffey for snacker. He went absolutely apeshit.
What about Stanley asked us to mention your second team 100 in the cup. What do you remember about that?
Stan being absolutely boring. Stan and Payne being ready to go, keen as mustard, really apt up for the game.
So it was semi-final. Who were we playing?
Semi-final. We were playing Corn away. Corn, first team were out, played half at first team. Stan and Payne open, batted 30 overs for nothing. Absolutely watching paint dry. So I've no idea why Stan played in seconds that year. Presumably another injury again. It's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, we had to get on with it. I batted with Iggy quite a bit there. Iggy batted, well, Iggy dibble ones, and I just went a bit ape, really. Got a 50 in decent time, then the second 50 just teed off, and the lads on the bowling green had to stop. They just had to take cover. We just, I think second 50, 14 balls or something like that. So, but yeah.
Wow.
Decent attack that day. There were a lot there that day, a lot from Lowerhouse there. I remember Ted Whitlock, balcony. He were absolutely smashed that day. Ted loved it that day. You must have been first team captain that year, Gary.
Well, that would be why Stan were in twos then.
Yeah, probably. Yes, in fact, you were first team captain, weren't you? Because we had the selection thing, didn't we? Then a couple of weeks later, which is eventually why I think Cappy gave up with Lowerhouse.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
What happened there?
Well, in them days, it's a bit similar to now. So you obviously couldn't play in the Junior Cup final if you'd played too many first team games qualifying in the qualifying period. So if me and Cappy played in the first team 1 week, then we then won't be eligible for the
final.
I mean, I were in that selection committee. I think I was vice captain that year too. Keith must have been captain. Not sure who Gary's were. Harry just said no. First team's what we are. You play and picking the best side. Fair enough. That's what it is. Cappy disagreed with it. I think end of that season he drifted off and didn't come back. I just took it. Captaincy, club decision, isn't it? So might not have been happy at the time, but you live with it. So I think it made a difference in final. But all them lot pigging around all frigging there for 50 overs. Stan again, bloody Phil and Chris Scott, none of them could get ball off square. Christ almighty. Painful to watch.
So that was 94, was it? There's a picture up here.
Yeah, there'll be a picture there.
Yeah, there is.
94, that.
Yeah.
Who's it side, Joe? Who's in the side for the final?
So Roger Bromley's the team manager.
Yeah.
Stan Shez, Terry Small, Neil McSweeney, Ian Gade, Pete Gaynor, Graham Young was 12th man. I can remember Keith did pick him. And Keith always tells that story. Chris Scott, Rusty, Iggy, Phil Astin, and Ted Whittle. So looks a pretty good team to me.
It's not a bad side.
It's a very good second team.
And who did we lose to?
Nelson away.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Did it rain?
Yeah, halfway through, it absolutely teamed it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It looks like it were a really nice day on that picture. Well,
Yeah.
it was at the time. Probably weren't raining then.
One toss battered, and then it absolutely teamed it down. Ask your Uncle Ian about it.
I have frequently, but he always reverts back to another game where he bowled Ramsbottom out or something in another final. He just tells me about that one.
I remember you also getting 100 at Bake Up in the seconds, and did it get rained off at half time?
158, 158. We got that 330. 40. It must have been a 46 over game, 46 ball overs, I think. Then Johnny Russell. I always thought he got 50, but somebody said this in the scorebook. He did get like late 20s, early 30s. Yeah, and then went in for tea, had a quick shower, went in for tea, sat up thing, and that old. Remember the old? I think it's probably still there. The tea hut up at the top end of the ground with the tin roof.
Yeah.
Heard this pit pat. Next thing, Evans ball. became abandoned. And you never replayed it, the seconds, and they didn't even give you the runs. So the 158 got expelled anyway. Bonkers. Happy days.
Frank, I've got another game here in the 1997 Second 11 Cup where you scored another 100.
Accrington.
Yeah. Chaz got 70 odd, but you got 107. They had so Duncan Warburton was bowling. Wayne Roberts, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne
Went on to play
Roberts.
for Richton, I think.
Yeah, and a few others from there. So I mean, I know that you were very good, but you must have scored a massive runs in the second team. You must have scored loads of second team runs.
I don't think I played a lot of games, Joe. I think when you look through, I probably played. I don't think I ever played a full season for many years. I probably ended up playing. Might have played 20 games a year, something like that.
Okay.
Because either or watching football, watching Burnley at start, or playing futsal, and at the end, if we probably weren't in for any trophies, my concentration might have wavered. Don't know. I probably finished more seasons off, but I might not have played a lot of early doors a lot of seasons, so I didn't play many full seasons.
So I mean, you've sort of said about how you sort of later on in your career, and you were a really important part of kind of an older group of players with you, Matt Marquis, Paul Stanley, who brought on a lot of the younger cricketers that are now playing in the first team. You know, Hawkey and Paddy and others. How did your role sort of change then?
We were looking 2002-3 when Stan's revolution was really coming in. 2003, I think I played a decent amount of first team cricket, but I think more 2004 I became second 11 captain. So 2004 and 5 I was second 11 captain. Yeah, we had Hawkey, Paddy was only little then. Didn't have the temper that he has now. I just enjoy it. I bought into everything that Stan wanted to do. You know, Stan wanted to create this, so we had youngsters, we had experienced cricketers teaching younger cricketers the finer art of cricket in terms of wanting to win, but probably not win at all costs, but more so just to learn the game. Yeah, we gathered around there. Matt Marquis, Paul Stanley came a little bit later back to do stuff. It was just a balance really of trying to, I wouldn't say weed out, but Nigel came. I think I'm not sure what year Nigel came, but I do remember in the Worsley Cup year 2004 being captain at twos and doing a lot of work with Nigel around younger cricketers in terms of Nigel liked to do a lot of fitness, running between wickets, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, fielding practice, introducing people to drills. I bought into all that because that was what Stan and David wanted to do. That was the route that they really wanted to go down. I thought Nigel was terrific. It wasn't everybody's cup of tea. Probably more difficult for older end cricketers who'd just been used to going about the way they practiced, how they wanted to practice, not properly structured, and different ways of practicing. Whereas the younger ones, your Paddies, your Joe Hawks, people like that, Nigel was influential in bringing people like Joe Hawk to the club because they knew Nigel's reputation, they knew what a good coach he was, they knew what we were trying to do. And Nigel would work one-to-one with those, with Paddy, with Joe Hawk and stuff like that. And I was quite willing to buy into all that because we were looking at that, that 10-year plan at that stage. But yeah, they were really good times. There was a good mix of youngsters, yeah. And you couldn't do without the likes of Matt Marquis at that stage. Matt Marquis was a terrific second team cricketer. Just sadly, he was probably not underrated, but he was probably unlucky. He didn't get more first 11 opportunities. You know what I mean? But just the time, I suppose.
Yeah, we mentioned that previously with Matt. Circumstances but again, a proper Lowerhouser through and through. Yeah, it's outstanding. What other stories have you got, Frank, about maybe about other people or things that you want to, everyone seems to have stories about you, maybe you could put the record straight.
We'll put a couple of records straight. I don't think Stan's the worst runner between the wickets. I never had a problem with him, although saying that, because I was hitting 6s and 4s, didn't have to do much running. And Tony Woodworth, complete cock and bull lies about the 6-0 Hereford. He didn't get me any tickets. I had a season ticket. He were crap.
So were you on that game?
Yeah, I was on. Yeah, cricket field stand, shouting abuse at him.
Did you know him?
Not really, no. So it's just a tale he's made up.
Well, I tell you, I tend to believe him. He's an officer of the law, and
He was.
We once saw you at Luton. We'd gone down to stay. Me, Matt, Matt Stanley, a few others. We'd gone down to stay with Johnny Russell at university, and Burnley were playing Luton, and there were a bit of aggro after the game. And Frank was not with us on the trip to go down and see Johnny, but we bumped into Frank. He had his hood right over his head and his top zipped up, so you could only see his eyes. And he was at the back of a big crowd.
you were a loose cannon then, Frank, a loose cannon.
Yeah.
Front page at Evening Telegraph. What happened then?
Daily Mail were on.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, Scarborough away.
Oh, was that it?
Scarborough came into the league and they played there. I don't know who helped fixtures that year. They played Wolves first game, Bolton at home second home game, and Burnley third home game. Wolves rioted. Bolton bloke fell through roof. About 10,000 Bolton and Burnley fans had to do at Old Bill. Smoke bombs everywhere. And I had to go to Renner's. Renner's had a shop on Coca Lane there. That Bonds had afterwards. And I went in. I used to pick papers up for my dad. Sunday morning, went to pick this paper up. Fucking hell. Daily Mail's. Back at Daily Mail's. Only a full page. And it riot at Scarborough, something like that it said. And I were on front page with right in middle. Like full page. Back of my Daily Mail. I had to buy every Daily Mail shop and then tell a cock and bull story to my dad and said, "Oh, they're not printed today. There's some strike by one at Unions."
I've got you Sunday Sport.
I had to get him. I don't know. I got him mirrors or something like that, but Christ almighty, went back at house burning them all.
What were the games against Burnley like, Frank, over your career?
Well, I think I have a good record.
Yeah.
60.86 win ratio against Burnley, Joe. I'll have you know.
Superb.
Maybe a drier point, but I noticed on, because I, again, sort of moved away sort of, but I remember you getting like a recognition for a Volunteer of the Year award. So talk us through that.
That was a bit. I've absolutely, to this day, I've absolutely no idea who put me up for that. I can only assume probably someone like Stan or Renners. Probably Stan was quite involved with the local sports thing. 2015, that were. Suddenly got an invite to Sports Awards at Burnley. Thought, oh, okay. Bit of a free nosh, couple of free pints, job done. And then quite astounded that I'd actually ended up winning it. So that was Community Sports Award, Burnley Community Sports Award. And then, unbeknown to myself, you then ended up having to go to like the Lancashire one. And we ended up going, me and Michelle went to Guildhall, and all the Burnley winners of the different groups were all entered in. Believe it. Ended up winning that. So, but yeah, very enjoyable. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, nice. Just I think if you're volunteering, you're not looking. Listen, if you're looking for someone to pat you on the back or say, "Oh, well done," whatever, then for me, volunteering is not for you because you don't get that out of it. But if you get a sense of being part of something and of contributing, then certainly volunteering. I found it difficult finishing in 2007. I think I finished playing cricket. I found it extremely difficult for the first couple of 3 years because you're not in that dressing room. You've not got the crack. You're outside of that camaraderie and such forth. You used to practice, all right, maybe not the most intense practice, but you were practicing Tuesday, Thursday, playing Saturday, Sunday. it's a lot of time. Joe, continue playing as long as you can. That would be mine, even if it's just some kind of social cricket. I tried a bit on the gate, doing a bit on there, such forth. But nothing beats the dressing room. But if anybody's volunteering and they want a pat on back, then it's not the place, because Jez doesn't do. Jez doing the 100 Club and stuff like that's fabulous. But Jez doesn't do it for that. Jez does it for Lowerhouse. He doesn't. He'd be grateful if I said, "Well done, Jez," and every opportunity and I think of it. But he's not doing it for pats on back, and he's not doing it for recognition. He don't want his name up in lights. He just wants to do something for the club, be part of something and contribute, It was just really nice.
Yeah. No, it's good to see that, especially, obviously Stan's been recognised in a different way, and like you said, it's good to see that people are putting all
Queen
that.
will be giving me one of them.
Yeah. People, well, they do a lot of vetting and background checking, I think, Frank, so they don't want any exposés. So I think you're on safe ground there, mate. I wouldn't be looking for any letters just before Christmas on that front. But no, it's good to see people sort of long associated with club and putting the amount of effort that they do in getting sort of that sort of reward outside or recognition outside of it. So one of the other sort of things that you sort of picked up on in recent times, but possibly, like you say, you have a bit more time on your hands and a bit more disposable income, is you sort of travel the world watching a lot of cricket now. Have you got some? You must have some tales spending time in different countries and Barmy Army and watching Test match with sort of 90 degrees and full of beer. Yeah,
there's some cracking tales. I mean, I first went to South Africa in 2001 when the year that Yarra ended, and I remember watching the Standard Bank one-day final at Kingsmead, Durban, and Yarra were playing that game. Jack Rudolph, John Kent, Pierre Joubert obviously then went on to play for Burnley. Justin Kent, Pollard, and Tina just sat there for 100 overs, and I just abused Benkenstein. He was obviously Burnley's pro. Spent 7 hours and completely abused Benkenstein for 7 hours. Very enjoyable.
But he weren't expecting that.
He couldn't believe it. He could absolutely not believe it. Yarra and Joubert and that were just laughing their heads off. They were obviously playing for Titans. Benkenstein was playing for Natal then. He just couldn't believe it. Not sure John Kent, who was going to be our pro year after, was that impressed, but at least I got to meet him then. But yeah, it's the cricket's quite good actually, because it's, if you think about cricket as it is, it's all in interesting places. So we went to South Africa in 2015. Went and watched the test in Durban again. They ended up calling us the Durban Five. So there's 5 of us. There's me, Michelle. There's a lad called Ian Pope from Ipswich. Wilkie and Rob are both from Preston. We ended up in Castle Corner at Durban. So that's Boxing Day 2015. They shut the bar down, shut the end down, called the police that day. Not because of us, but a lot of the South Africans got a bit out of hand. Anyway, the next day the newspaper blamed an infiltration of Barmy Army fans. But you're right, drinking £1 pints in 90 degrees is far more favourable than sitting at Old Trafford in a cold wind and paying 50, 60 quid for the privilege.
Yeah. So where have you not been that you fancy going?
Pakistan.
Well, they're going back there soon, aren't they? 2 T20.
Yeah, so I might be able to. It's 2 1-day, 2 T20. So Pakistan is on the cards potentially. If they'll give us.
I'll alert the ambassador.
India again. I'd like to go to India and watch more cricket. We went in 2016. But I'd like to see a lot more of India. It's a really big place. We saw a lot, but there's a lot more to see there. It's unlikely they'll go back to Zimbabwe, I think, but that's another potential. Holland in May this year. whether that's behind closed doors or not. Amsterdam will be pretty good for 3 one-day internationals, but I think they will probably still behind closed doors at that stage, so that's probably going to be a no-no. And then next year, going to go to Ashes, because we haven't been away this year. We've just been able to concentrate really and say that's what we'll do. So I've wangled 6 weeks off work, and the plan is to do Brisbane, Adelaide, and Melbourne tests. So fingers crossed.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But Pakistan is more an aim than for me. Just culture-wise, really, quite like going to these places, like the countries. Loved India, loved Dubai and places like that. Can't do enough for you, to be fair. So Sri Lanka, we'll have to go back to Sri Lanka again. That was a fabulous trip. 3-0. You don't see England win away much, generally speaking. But November is really the rainy season.
Any other lively tales around Lowerhouse or your sporting career or your travels that you think we should know about?
There's been a couple of entertaining futsal trips.
One what involved there?
We went to Australia one year, so we played in the Australian National Championship. So that was in Canberra. So we paid us all, or got sponsorship to sort us flights out. They paid for all the accommodation, everything after that. So it's a win-win situation. So Steve Catlow, Catsy, don't you?
Yeah. So
Catsy went, Cass Mason, Neil Thompson, Steve Doney went, Jeff Payton. So there was probably about a dozen of us. Gimmer, Steve Long.
Yeah.
Yes, Gimmer was backpacking then. We were short a number, so Gimmer come and played for us. And we ended up getting to the semi-final, played New South Wales, and we had to play a final. We were dead on his feet because we only had 6 fit men for the final. They had a 12-man fully fit squad. So we had to use every trick in the book to try and not run the clock down. So we talked them into allowing them to run the clock down. So normally if the ball went out of play, it would stop. So if you're playing 30 minutes, the game probably lasts like an hour and a half normally. But we talked him into allowing us to run the clock down. So every time the ball went out to play, all we would do is belting the ball as far up into the stands as possible. Cass had a knife, so we cut in the nets and doing all sorts. So that we only played about 8 minutes and ended up winning 1-0. So we come third in the whole tournament. So we ended up with these big, nice, shiny FIFA bronze medals.
Cassie play, Frank? Steve Catlow play?
Yeah, brilliant player. Yeah. Cassie used to play at centre back at Diamond. Really, really good futsal player. Terrific player.
There's a good 11-a-side footballer, Steve.
Yeah. We went to Cadiz one year, and we used to play. So at Colm, we used to play in leagues, and then we used to play a cup. So the league winners would get to go to whatever trip was coming up. They'd generally get an invite to a tournament, and the cup winners used to do as well. Some young lads won it one year, and they needed a couple of backup players. So he used to truly put his hand up. Free trip to Cadiz, that'll do me. I'll have some of that. So anyway, first game he says he worked so well on trip over. So he says, "Oh, Frank, you play first game." Anyway, it's live on TV, in local TV in Cadiz on Spanish channel. There's 15,000 in stadium. Spanish going absolutely mental. Owens Rockets all lot. 30 seconds into the game, one of the lads in front of me ducks, ball, futsal. It's a dead weight ball. Bang, straight in the middle of the face, completely knocked out. Game gets stopped, live on TV. Ambulance into the stadium. Carted on ambulance, off to hospital. Ches, what real do I'm on? They get beat. I think they got beat like 4-5-1 at the end of it. I gets rushed to hospital. Next day, they brings Mayor. The Mayor of Cadiz comes to make sure I'm all right because he's been guest at match the day before. So Jeff Payton, being Jeff, says, "This is your tradition in England. gives him a can of beer and says, "You must drink it with the man." So he's feeling better. So I'm sat in this hospital bed after drink a can of beer with bloody Mary Cadiz. And then
I was made up, doesn't it, this story? It's a brilliant story. It sounds like you're just making random stuff up on top of your head.
and then the last day, I was supposed to. So I think we were there for 6 days. So the last night, I'm supposed to be taking all these pills for like whatever. Anyway, so I just downed a load of these pills. We go out and have a load of beer. They tried to wake me up next day for coach from Cadiz to Gibraltar, and they couldn't wake me up, so they just left me there. So left me asleep in Bath in Cadiz. So I woke up at 4 or 5 hours later. Had to get on chicken bus out to bloody Gibraltar. Good days.
Jesus.
Is that why your nose looks like it does? That.
Yeah. It's had some. Well, it's had that. I'm not really good at fainting, Joe.
Well travelled.
I can tell you that.
Well travelled bonds.
A well-travelled nose, yeah.
We had a little trip, Frank, didn't we? And your nose got removed a little bit to one side.
What's that?
We had a trip abroad somewhere. I don't know whose trip it was, and you had a little issue.
Who's was it? Would it have been Matt's stag do?
Yeah, that's when you cut your head on the curb.
With that Wolves fan?
Yeah, Dean from Wolverhampton.
Dean from Wolverhampton.
Dean, because he kept saying I'm Dean from Wolverhampton as though we should know who we were.
He took a punch, Frank.
Did he? Oh God.
Do you remember? Because I'd gone on holiday with Michelle and the kids.
Yeah.
And then they flew back, and I come and met you lot.
Right.
Jesus.
So I think we've got through a couple of hours worth and a bit more there of material and good old stories, Frank. And I think coming through the ranks, interesting hearing all the stories and characters, games and thoughts and memories and stuff. And then obviously all your time off the field involved in organising and helping take the club forward and that. Anything else you'd like to add, Frank, to finish up?
No, I just, to be fair, I'd just like to thank you all. You won't. I hope you do realise how good they are, the podcasts. I spent all summer walking to work and walking home from work. Quite enjoyable, to be fair, in the sunshine. But I just used to walk along the canal through Briarfield. I'd be cackling every morning. 6:30 in the morning, absolutely cackling to the early podcasts. They were fabulous. It's a fabulous piece of work. But yeah, and I know it's difficult. I know it's time consuming for you, but you should be very proud of what you're doing.
Well, they are a bit like the Oxford vaccine, Frank. 90% effective for dealing with COVID at the moment.
Exactly right, and it is, Frank. I mean, we've had some great fun and some great conversations around it. We all appreciate your kind words. I'd like to carry on, and we've got a few ideas, and maybe when lockdown's done, and maybe have one at the club where people can actually ask questions. And record it that sort of way. But no, we appreciate that, Frank. No, thank you.
Good. Well, thanks for giving up your time and coming on, Frank. It's been great and a long-awaited guest on this forum. So all the best to you, Frank, and Michelle and the crew. Hope you winter well, and we'll catch up shortly.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Cheers.
Take care.
Gordon, send more house to save the house.